I'm Strikadelic, but you can call me Ludo. Welcome to my hyperfixation diary.
Hello, everybody. Holy man, have I missed you guys. I know I have not uploaded in quite some time, and that was never my intent or even my choice, really, unless I was just going to be uploading some really low quality stuff, which honestly I'm not even sure today is going to be super up there in quality, but I just wanted to get back on camera. Just a good old classic video concept. We'll keep it casual. I have shopped my stash for some makeup that I'm going to put on my face, and we can catch up about where I've been, what I've been up to. Y'all can let me know what you've been up to in the comments. Hopefully I'm able to stay on track. I wrote myself a little note about all the stuff that's happened in the past month or two, and let's get started. I'm going to be starting off with eyeshadow, as I do pretty much always when I'm doing my makeup, and I have no plan. I have no rhyme or reason or idea of what I want to do, but I pulled a bunch of things from my collection and I'll just show them to you. A couple are new and a couple are like really old. First of those new things is this little palette from Prideful. You might remember Prideful from my trying new makeup at Walmart video a couple months back. And the brand was actually really kind. They answered all my questions and they reached out to send me a couple of things, which was bonkers to me as somebody with like under 500 subscribers. That was crazy. So they just really valued my review, which felt really good. Yeah, so they sent me this little eyeshadow palette called Meags, which I find funny because that's like eerily similar to my dead name. But it is this really nice, like rosy color story. I've worn it a couple times and the mattes are really nice. The shimmers are a little harder pressed, but they are good for a quick look. So I have this to play with. And then I have this palette from Odenseye, which is new to me, but I didn't purchase it. I swapped it with a friend of mine. She had one that was like pretty much untouched. This is the Norns palette, and I've actually been really impressed with the quality of it so far. So I'm excited to maybe dip into a couple more shades from it. I have a really old favorite. If you followed me on Instagram from 2018, 2019, or you ever read my Blogspot blog that I had from around 2014 to 2020, I think, you would have seen this fun size eyeshadow palette in the colorway Fruit Sorbet from Voss. I have quite a few dips in this palette. I'm close to hitting pan on the cream shade and the red. And I've been getting back into this palette and really liking it still, so that's exciting to me. And in terms of eyeshadow palettes that were my favorites in 2018, there's more where that came from, baby. We've got the Too Faced Life's a Festival palette. Throwback. This is a mostly shimmer / duochrome palette that came out for spring summer 2018, limited edition. They had a whole collection with this, with these weird like unicorn horn looking highlighters and a shimmer mist, and I don't know, it was pretty neat. The whole collection sans the eyeshadow palette smelled like Pez or like Sweet Tarts, so that was neat. So there's a pink matte, a medium brown matte, and then there's a bunch of really fun shimmers and duochromes in here that I wish Too Faced would have I wish they would have taken this idea and put a spin on it. Like even these formulas in a chocolate bar palette would be really cool. And then lastly for eyeshadow, I have created a palette full of single shadows that are more on the iridescent / sparkly topper side. And I just threw all of my favorites in the same palette so that I can top them over looks that I make with other eyeshadow palettes, because that was the main thing stopping me from using my like regular eyeshadow palettes, I guess, as opposed to my indie singles, was that I felt like I wasn't getting the texture I wanted. And if I just throw all of it into this companion palette that I can use alongside any other palette, then I'm good to go pretty much. I already primed my lids and threw down some powder foundation on top of them before I turned on the camera. So we're pretty much good to get started. I have to admit, I'm really feeling that Odenseye Norns palette and pairing it with the Prideful. I know, the two things that are new to me, but maybe we'll dip into the Fruit Sorbet, the Life's a Festival, or my shimmery toppers afterwards. We'll just have to see. So I think I'm going to start with this sort of grayed out mauve from the Prideful palette through my crease, kind of like a transition shade. Keep it classic. I'm feeling the dusty purples and pinks right now. I know. So like I said, just putting that through my crease as a transition shade. And let's see if I can actually do some chatting in this chit chat. Get ready with me. We'll talk about where I've been. So let's see. I did get a job. I know I was lamenting being painfully unemployed in a couple of my past videos. I was interviewing for a job, like something I would consider to be sort of a dream job in terms of maybe not necessarily the task at hand, but definitely like the pay and benefits were something I was really shooting for. Basically, it would have enabled me to lead a life that I had been wistfully pondering after. If I had that sort of mobility with my free time and my finances, just that little bit of a safety net, that would have been great. I passed all of the interviews as far as I'm aware, and they were doing like a final background check on me, and then they entered a hiring freeze. And they're not sure when they're going to come out of it. So I had to go get a service job in the meantime. I just wanted somewhere that was going to hire me really quickly. So I chose a store that I knew really needed employees. It's just like a grocery chain. And I work in the deli there. I'm kind of like, I don't know, like I serve food and I make pizza and I cut meat and I don't know, stuff like that. It's a job. It's a job. And I don't hate it so far or anything. But I'm laughing because I put on my Instagram story, I wear a hairnet and I wear makeup and like a t-shirt and stuff. And I look like a stereotypical lunch lady when I do that. I look like glam lunch lady. And so I put on my story yesterday, like, if lunch ladies exist, does that make me a lunch lord? I think I'm hilarious. But yeah, I got this job. They hired me really quickly. I think I applied, was interviewed 2 days later, and then started 2 days after that. And they would have had me start basically on the spot, but I told them I wanted a day to like get my stuff together. And then they didn't pay me until 2 days ago, and I've been working there for a couple weeks. I mean, it wasn't really the store's fault, it was corporate's fault, but I don't even know how much I'm allowed to say about that. But it's just been a stressful couple of weeks. And it's a part-time job, but I am like painfully familiar with the concept of part-time position, full-time work. So while it's nice to get a bunch of hours, they started me on these like 50-hour weeks, and to jump into that after being unemployed for a couple of months, like as somebody who's chronically ill, and then I had to go off of my pain meds because they cost too much and I wasn't making any money, that was tough on my body. And then, you know, I was depressed because I was in pain. So yeah, I wasn't like physically able to sit down and film. I did film a couple of things before I started the job, but then I had some technical issues with my editing software and my phone. So I'm gonna try and get those videos out. They're just like really long declutters. I really hope I can get them out, but if I don't, then the declutter series is probably gonna end up being a bit of a bust and just something I do privately. Maybe I can kind of just do an after shot of what my collection looks like after. I'm not really sure. So that's that shade from the Prideful palette after I have really built it up because I was blabbing. And I didn't expect it to, it's not that I didn't expect it to build up this much. I'm just like pleased with how much it actually built up instead of just fluffing away on itself. So now I'm going to go in on the other side of this brush, which is more tapered and precise. I'm going to go in with the shade Mist from the Odenseye palette. And these Odenseye mattes I find to be really pigmented. So I'm just gonna work in like small layers. So that's one part of where I've been. And then the other part involves my father, who I live with currently. He got in kind of a fender bender, but his vehicle was an older, like less popular model. So the car was essentially a write-off and he needed to find a new one, and everything was like backed up. And then he took a bit of time to be off and do that, and has been at home ever since because of reasons. So I just haven't really had a lot of time, or well, I haven't had any opportunity really until today to sit down and film because he's been at home this whole time. So even when I'm off work, he's here, and he doesn't want me to film when he's home because he finds it annoying, and I also find it annoying when I can hear his action movies in the background of my videos. So that was a bust. So I've just been switching back and forth between both ends of the brush and putting that mist shade pretty much everywhere. You can still see that Prideful shade above it. It really did just act as like a nice transition that's maybe a bit warmer toned. And just focusing on really making sure everything's blended. I'm going to go in with this lighter cream shade from the Prideful palette just up here to fix a little bit of muddiness that I have. And the muddiness is not the fault of either of these shadow formulas. It is simply that I plucked my eyebrows quite intensely before hopping on camera. So we'll just fix that up. We'll clean up a little bit around the edges. A lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people on my Instagram ask me what my like blending secret is, and it's honestly just skin toned powder to fix your mistakes. Layers on layers, baby. Now I want to go in with something darker, at least on the outer corner, maybe even on the inner part of my lid to do a halo eye. And I think I'm going to have to go back into the Odenseye palette for that because there's nothing really that fits that bill in any of the other palettes that I pulled. There isn't really like a dark matte in any of them. So I'm going to be going in, this is more of a medium, but we'll see how it builds up. This is the shade Pragmatism. And I'm using the Sephora Pro Small Shadow 15, which is discontinued, sadly. So I'm just going to pat that onto the outer and middle lid for now. I think I'm just going to do my typical eyeshadow shape now that I think about it. Just kind of wiggle it through the crease and do little circular buffing motions to blend it, and then kind of wing it out a little bit. And then I'll take that mist shade, which is that purple that we used, the second shade, and blend over top of any edges that we have. Just taking this across my whole lid. I'll throw a picture of the other look I did with this palette since getting it on the screen because I really, really liked it and I was impressed with how the shadows worked. I used more of the cool tones in this palette in terms of like the actual blues and greens and blacks and silvers. And yeah, I really, really liked how it turned out. So I'm just covering my lid in that brown and making sure that it blends into that dusty purple. So let's talk about my living situation a bit, I guess. I'm usually not the most open about that sort of thing online anymore because I used to be really open about it and that bit me in the butt a couple times. But yeah, like I do live with my father and I am privileged to have that option of having a family member who would take me in when I came upon tough times. So that was good. I can't say it's always the best situation to be in mentally. We've got like just a complicated relationship. And I am like very grateful for his support. But we are going to be going our separate ways pretty soon, like in the next couple of months, just due to, you know, he has a girlfriend now, and they are going to be moving closer to his new job. So I'm going to be moving in with one of my very best friends. So that's really good. I'm very excited about that. And then I'll have more time to film, hopefully, as well. I'll have to like get the space all set up so it'll be like I'll have room for it. But I'm very excited for the like free time that this will offer me, because my friend and I work on generally opposite schedules. So yeah, it's just like we'll be out of the house at separate times, and then when we do hang out, like I've been sleeping over at his house or his apartment where I'm going to move in once a week, usually once or twice a week for the past couple of months, almost as like a test run, just to see if we can like coexist. And it's been good. We either talk for hours or we just like do our own thing. I'll watch YouTube or edit I used to edit like my videos, or I'll write a script or something, or I just pass out on the couch and he goes and plays video games or reads a book, and he's got a cute cat. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna miss my little fuzzy butts. Oh my god, my dad's 3 cats that we've had for like over 10 years. I love them so much, and I'm gonna miss them so much. I'm gonna miss my dad too, and even his girlfriend. But I'm very excited for the opportunity to feel more like an adult again. I was about to take this cotton square and wipe away fallout, but I don't really have any. Like I've got a little bit from the brown because it's a darker shade, but that's about it. Yeah, not a significant amount at all from what I usually get with darker shades. It really seemed to be sticking the best to my inner lid, but that's okay. We're gonna cover it up with a shimmer after. I just wanted to let y'all know. It doesn't really seem to want to stick the best to my inner lid, like this specific crease part here. That could be something to do with my primer or the powder that I used, but we're going to be covering it up anyways. I just wanted to let y'all know. I'm just going to use a bit of my Too Faced glitter glue over the brown on my lid, and then we're going to pop a shimmer on there. Just going into the Norns palette again. This is the shade Obsessed, and it's like this metallic purple with silvery blue sparkle, it looks like. Ooh, it's kind of like a deep wine color. That's really pretty. Oh, that goes so well with my shirt. I love that. I know Odenseye has been causing a bit of a stir over on the indie makeup community of like Instagram, and especially on Reddit. There's been a couple of threads about them. I actually got like downvoted to hell on one of those threads because I said something without thinking, and it's really easy to get downvoted to hell on any of those subreddits, especially when you're like, yeah, speaking without thinking, or even just speaking in general, really easy. Like even the Bath and Body Works subreddit can be a bit of a garbage fire at times. My take on the Odenseye stuff, I don't mind that they're based in China, like as it seems to be, or like we don't really know. Like the owners are from Sweden, it appears. They claim to be like a Swedish brand, and then they get most of their stuff ships from China, which, you know, a lot of people are making the argument that that is like a cheaper way to do business. But my main hope is that everybody involved in that process is being paid fairly, because I wouldn't want it to be like the kind of cheaper that is putting employees at risk or like not paying a living wage. And I'm not saying any of that is happening. And I'm not saying that like Chinese companies or like Chinese business practices are inherently like that. But I know there have been a lot of companies that have been ousted, or not ousted, outed for using labor that they're not compensating fairly when they outsource their manufacturing to different parts of the world. It's kind of where I stand with that. I don't think I'll be spending any more money on the brand any point soon. I was interested in their collab with Lauren May Beauty, Batty Bean, and Makeup Just for Fun. Especially Lauren May, because, you know, I've been waiting for her to come out with some sort of collab forever, it seems. I really like the palette she came out with, and I actually love the quality of Odenseye shadows. That's not my issue. I just want to make sure that everything is, like, simpatico. Everything's kosher over on that front. And I want to wait for maybe some, like, official statement from the brand with a bit more transparency about their business practices, I guess. I don't know if we'll ever get that. I did purchase one of the single shadows that they came out with. I got that red shade, Leon, that everybody was like freaking out about. And it's really good, but it does crease. Like, I use it with a glitter glue and it still creases on me pretty badly within a couple hours. But the way it looks like freshly applied almost makes it worth it for me. Like, it's a stunning glittery ruby red. And it's a shade that I've been searching for forever. So I'm like, through hell and high water, I will find a way to make that kind of shade work. But if that shade weren't as special, if it were like just your like standard straight across the board, like gold shimmer, I wouldn't be fussing with it like that. I wouldn't be putting up with that. So just a bit of a review on that, I guess. Spoilers. Not that I was going to really put up a review of it anyway. I probably would have just mentioned it in a single shadow video, but I mentioned it here. This palette so far, the Norns palette, has not really given me any issues. I'm really pleased with the shadows in this palette. So I'm going to go in with, I think, one more shade from this palette, and that is the shade Realism right here, this brown. And I'm going to use my finger to tap that over the purple, kind of closer to the lash line. Yeah, that's really pretty. I'll try and give an update in the description box of how this wears on me throughout the rest of the day, because the other day that I wore a look using this palette, I went out to an event and I wasn't really paying attention to how my makeup was wearing, and I just kind of slugged it off with a cleansing balm at the end of the night. Didn't really pay attention to if the eyeshadow had creased or whatever. So yeah, I'll try and give an update. Again, barely any fallout, which is really, really nice. I do want to throw one more shimmer on my like inner corner area just to brighten things up a little bit. And I'm going to use my Indie Single Shadows palette for that. I think I want to go with, is this Angel Wings? Yes, it is. Angel Wings from Looxi. That's what I'm going to use. These Looxi shadows, I can say that they do crease on me worse than some other singles. Like, they crease worse than the Cleona shadows, but they are like $2.50 a piece. I am going insane at the fact that it took me so long to try Looxi, because their Canadian shipping can be, or was in the past, pretty expensive. It's gotten better, but these shadows are gorgeous and really, really affordable. So I am glad that I ordered a bunch during their Black Friday sale. Hopefully, I'm gonna get some sort of single shadow video out soon-ish in a relative timeline. I want to get some sort of single shadow content out for y'all, but if you want to see swatches of all of the Looxi shadows that I got, I do have them as a highlight on my Instagram profile. The most recent highlight that I have, actually. So go give that a peek if you want to see which ones that I got. Yeah, that was the shade Angel Wings, and it's really, really pretty. That's the eyes. Now we get to move on to the face, which hopefully I don't belabor as much as I did the eyes. We'll see if I do. I'm going to be priming with this little mini size of the NYX Plump Right Back Primer. I got this in a gift set that my friend Era, who you've heard about multiple times on this channel by now, got me as part of our Christmas exchange. And I'm pretty much done with it already. I've been using it all of like January and February. And I really, really, really like it. Almost just shoved my finger up my nose. Great. This stuff is really, really nice. It is, I would call it more of a gripping primer than like a serum or plumping primer, honestly. Like, it does make the skin look really healthy, but it also just keeps my makeup on longer, which I really like. I am definitely going to be picking up a full size of this once this mini finally kicks the bucket, which should be in a couple days, if I'm being honest. Next is another product from the gift package from Era that I asked for. This is the Milani Supercharged Brightening Under Eye Tint in the shade Pink, which is their lightest shade. So that's it right there, just a very light pink tint. And I like that this one has a more emollient consistency than a few other pink color correctors I've tried. It doesn't get hot in my under eye lines in the same way. It's almost more of like a lotiony consistency, or more like a serum, honestly. So yeah, I really like this stuff. It's brightening and it evens out my skin, but I can wear it without any other makeup if I want, which is really nice when it comes to, you know, something that is brightening, because I don't want to have to color correct and then cover up with like full coverage. That's not really what I'm into anymore. This just color corrects a little bit. Like, I can smear a bit of this under my eyes and just go to work if I feel like I'm looking a bit haggard but don't want to put on a full face. It's just a good product. Usually I do just smear it on with my fingers, but today I wanted to try the brush and I am satisfied with how that looks. I don't think I would apply this with a sponge just because of how kind of watery it is. I feel like a sponge would just eat all of the product on you. Next, I bought this product. This is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter in the shade 1 Fair. I saw this at my local Shoppers Drug Mart, and the manager of that Shoppers didn't even know it was on the shelf yet. She was like, "Where did you get this?" when she was catching me out. I was like, "Oh, it was in the e.l.f. section." She's like, "Shit, was there any left?" And I'm like, "No, this was the last one." She was like, "God damn it." Because she wanted to buy it. But I don't know if I would buy it again, if I'm being honest. The shade is a little yellow for me. Even though it's the lightest shade, I wish it were a little more pearly. And it looks weird on top of foundation, but under foundation it doesn't do a ton. So, it's okay. I guess I haven't tried mixing it in with foundation though, or tinted moisturizer. So I guess that's something I could have done today, but I don't know. I just wanted to demonstrate it on camera for you. I do like that it's not as like greasy, gooey as some of the other like shimmer goos on the market. It does give a nice shine, but it's not sticky or glossy, so it does, you know, at least perform well under makeup, whereas some of them, they say like, yeah, put this under your makeup, and it's like, okay, that's fine if you have really dry skin, but if you don't, then you're just going to end up with your cheeks like curdling and wearing off before the rest of your makeup does, so that's always a good look, you know? And then I'm just gonna go through my foundation and concealer really quick because I don't think I have a ton new to show you. I'm just mixing a tinted moisturizer and a foundation on the back of my hand, being the Nude Sticks Tinted Moisturizer and the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation. I no longer support Nude Sticks, but I'm using up that tinted moisturizer and it does mix in really well with other products. So I'll be using that as my foundation. Usually I do my concealer before my foundation, but I just feel like doing it afterwards today, I guess. So I'm just going to throw some of that on really quick. And I guess I can tell you guys, I don't know, a bit more about, I feel like I've covered pretty much everything that was on my note while I was doing my eyeshadow. So I don't know if there's a lot more catching up we have to do. I think I briefly said something about the fact that I had my birthday in February, which I did. I'm an Aquarius. I was born on February 4th, 1997, so I turned 26 this year. I have officially entered the latter half of my 20s, and yeah, I did have a bit of a crisis about it, but my birthday itself, like the celebration part of it, was actually really nice. It was the best one I've had in about 10 years, like consistently across the board. I've had other birthday parties or like get-togethers that were really nice, but something else happened that year around my birthday kind of thing that put a damper on things, whereas, I don't know, like this birthday was pretty good all around. I had a good time celebrating with my friends and family. So that's my tinted moisturizer slash foundation base. And yeah, okay, I do have a new concealer, actually. This is the Keep Me Covered concealer with aloe vera from Essence. And I have mine in the shade, what the hell? 20, Fair. I think it would be cool if there were a concealer range where one of the shades was just called What the Hell, and like maybe another one was called Holy Shit, and then another one was like Good Lord, maybe? I feel like Il Maquillage would get on with that. So if you see them come out with that, let me know so I can, like, I don't know, demand compensation. Okay, so I tried that concealer a couple other times before, and I wasn't really like super blown away by it because of the coverage level not being what I expected, but it looks really nice right now, actually. I was putting it underneath foundation and not with color corrector the other times, so it does have a bit of help this time around, but I feel like with the help that I have given it, it is thriving. It's thriving with accommodations. So, you know what? Me too. I thrive with accommodations. Looks good. There we go. We breezed through some base stuff, and I have foundation all over my lips. So, hold please. So I did mention that I have a new blush to play with, and we are getting there. But I do also have this liquid contour that I've been really liking. And this is also from Milani. This is their little sponge tip contour. We know what it's trying to get at. This is the Conceal and Perfect in the shade Honey. And I honestly do just like dot this right onto the skin. I used to like dot it onto the brush or onto my sponge, but it blends out well enough from just being on the skin that I don't mind it. So I'm placing that kind of high up on my cheek, and it's a more yellow toned shade, as the name Honey would suggest. So it comes off as a bit more of like a bronzer than your traditional contour, but I don't mind that either. I find with my neutral undertones, a more gray contour looks okay on me on my face, but then as soon as I start getting into this jaw area where I like to contour, it'll look a little bit like mucky if I'm using something that's too gray, whereas it looks like a more natural shadow if it's something that's a bit more brown to even yellow. So yeah, my favorite little contour trick is to just snatch my chin a little bit, because I find I have a wide chin. I mean, I have a double chin, but I also just have like, I've always had like a wide chin, I guess. It's not something I'm like super self-conscious about, but I just want it to be proportionate to my lips, if that makes sense. I don't know. We all have like weird things we see in our own faces that other people wouldn't necessarily give a shit about. Keep in mind, part of the shadow you're seeing is also like my lighting and the fact that I have facial hair all along here. I've got some pretty gnarly sideburns that are like half blonde, a quarter silver, and a quarter dark. So they just end up looking really like nasty when they're covered in makeup. I just deal with it though. All right, so let's talk about my new blush. I was super excited to pick this up. This is the Melt Cream Blush Light in the shade Pink Sand. And I've wanted this for a really long time, actually, since it came out. This was a shade extension from the original Cream Blush Light shade range. Pretty much all of the original Cream Blush Light shades from Melt were very orange, and that looks really great on a lot of skin tones, but my skin tone, like a light orange, is not what's going to flatter me. That's going to end up looking like I put the wrong shade of foundation on my cheeks. I was waiting for them to come out with some more pinks. I was hoping they'd come out with like mauvey purples too, or like plums, but they didn't. They came out with the shade Pink Sands. I got it for $5, okay? Sephora put a bunch of different stuff on sale on their website, and for like a weekend, I think it was. I think it was Family Day weekend or President's Day weekend in the States. So the cream blush lights from Melt are normally around $30 Canadian. Melt is just one of those brands that for some reason always ends up being a weird price on the Sephora Canada website, just because it fluctuates so much with the exchange rate. They keep it really tied to that. So these are like $30.92 most of the time on the Canadian website. So I hadn't picked this shade up because I do have one shade, or I think two shades, yeah, of the cream blush light already, and they served me perfectly well. But I still really wanted this, and then it went on for $15 on Sephora, and I had $10 off applied in my cart because I had 500 points, so I got this for $5, and I was really pleased with myself. I got it in the mail yesterday, and I was a little worried that it was actually going to be too similar to my favorite shade, which is Honey Thief. So this is Honey Thief here, and this is Pink Sands. I didn't have Honey Thief in my hand while I was comparing them, so they looked a lot more similar in the pan in my head. Pink Sands is definitely more pink though. I think I'm actually going to apply that with a little brush. This is the Rephr 04 brush. Woo, that's pink. Okay. This is probably going to clash with like the purpley brown on my eyes, but I don't really care because I just really wanted to try this blush out. By the way, this is the only Rephr brush I have, and while I like having it, I got it for really cheap from somebody who was reselling it, but I really wouldn't recommend it for the price that they charge. Like, it sheds like a mofo. It's definitely not what people say it is online. I think it's one of the only natural hair face brushes I have though, so I do keep it. And I do like the shape of it. I just wish it were better quality. Oh, that blush is so pretty. I don't know if it's exactly what I was looking for, but like it might even be better than what I thought I was getting. Because I thought I was getting more of like a baby pink. But this is more lively than that. It's got more life to it. And the formula of these just look like skin. They're so good. I highly recommend the Melt Cream Blush Lights, especially if they go on sale again. Look, another friggin' hair just came off this Rephr brush, and there's one already stuck in the cream blush. Got friggin' brush hairs all over my shirt, god damn. For my highlight, I pulled out a product that I never really use, but I've had a hard time getting rid of, and that is this big, chunky motherfucker. This is the NARS Orgasm, like, multi-use cream palette that they came out with in 2019, I want to say. Endless Orgasm palette. That sounds like a good way to end up in the ER. I'm just going to try and use this shade here as a cream highlight on my finger. This is the shade Orgasm Ecstasy. Lovely. Okay, that is very glittery, but I don't hate it. I don't know, it kind of goes with the vibe, I guess. Maybe not the best for every day. I definitely wouldn't try applying this over powder. The texture is rather like grippy. I feel like it would pull powder up really, really easily. Yeah, see, I accidentally went over a bit of my eyeshadow with it, and it just yanked it right off my face. So now it looks like I have two different shapes of eyeshadow. Yeah, that's a very 2019 formula. Like, I can feel all of the cat hair in this room flying towards it. So now I'm just powdering my face with my Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Powder Foundation, which, to my chagrin, is in fact discontinued and has been reformulated to be the Ultra HD Matte Velvet Powder Foundation. I think they mashed the two names together. Not quite sure. I do have a backup of this right now because my friend Era did send me one. So we all thank her for that. But after I'm through with this pan and then my backup, I suppose I will try the Ultra HD Matte Velvet Foundation from Makeup Forever to see how it compares. Maybe I'll try it sooner than that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the cookie crumbles and how my finances are. So that's that for all the complexion. I'm not really loving that highlight, but the blush was definitely a winner. And I really have been loving that contour. I am now going to do my brows and finish off my eyes, you know, add some brow bone highlight, maybe a little bit more sparkle, as well as doing the lower lash line and my mascara. Then we can do my lips, and then I'll just leave you be for another little bit. I don't know. I have a couple of other videos planned. Maybe we'll talk about that. I don't want to make like big lofty promises and then fail to deliver on them, but I will tell you what has been rattling around in my head lately in terms of videos that I would like to make. Oh, by the way, I just used my Hard Candy Brow Teddy Brow Gel, which has been serving me perfectly fine over the past little bit. And now I'm going in with my NYX brow pen, the Lift and Snatch brow tint pen to be precise, in the shade Espresso. So I really do want to get those declutters up if possible. I'll have to see if the clips still exist on my laptop and on my phone, and see if I can edit them back down, because the problem was that I had edited this whole 90-minute lip declutter. I had edited it down from like 5 hours of footage, and I was super proud, and then I tried to export it, and CapCut doesn't let you export onto your memory card on your phone. It only goes towards the phone storage, and I didn't have a hope in hell of having enough storage on my actual phone to be able to export that video. So I ended up having to delete it because it almost crashed my phone when I tried to export it. And then I transferred all of the raw footage over to my computer in the hopes that I can edit it on there. I do have Filmora, and I know CapCut has like a browser version as well. I'm a little nervous about the browser version just because, like, if it doesn't seem to have any sort of like autosave feature, and I'm worried about losing a really long video if my browser just decides to shut down. So there we go. Browser looking a little wild, but that's okay. Let's start working on the lower lash line. I'm going to take Mist, which was that purple shade from the Odenseye Norns palette, and start putting that on my lower lash line. And I'm using a little pencil brush. This is a Morphe M149. Not sponsored. I definitely don't have a code with Morphe. That whole Morphe situation was nuts with them closing all those stores. That's super unfortunate and shitty of them, honestly. I haven't bought anything from Morphe in a couple years, since 2019, and in 2019 I was only really buying their brushes anyway. I don't think I've ever owned anything other than the brushes and their setting spray. I really do like their setting spray, but I haven't owned it in a long time. As far as the brushes go, they've come out with some shapes recently that have intrigued me, but knowing the average quality of their brushes, like I've had to glue a bunch of these back together, I would just rather support a different company. also with like their business affiliations and stuff. I don't support a lot of the people they have supported in the past, like Jeffree Star. Fuck him. So that's pretty. And then I'm just going to put that brown that we used, the matte brown, not the shimmer one, on the outer half of the lower lash line. Kind of wiggle it up into that outer corner to connect the two. Videos that I want to put out. Where was I going with that? Sorry, I'm just like fussing with my eyeshadow now. It's not really tutorial style anymore. I definitely want to get those declutters out, like I said, and then I have another video that I kind of like half filmed and want to get out, which is the brands I want to try in 2023 video. I've filmed about 3/4 of it. There'll be a big gap in between filming days, which I'll have to kind of point out, but I picked 5 fragrance brands and 5 makeup / skincare brands that I want to focus on trying this year at some point and reviewing on the channel. So yeah, that'll be a fun one. And then I think I was having a bit of like, I don't know, I wasn't having a lot of inspiration for fragrance videos for a while. And then I all of a sudden like thought of 4 different ones I wanted to do in the same day. And of course that comes with a lot of like new stuff entering my life. For my birthday, I ordered 1 full-size fragrance from Imaginary Authors, as well as a sample. So I want to do a big Imaginary Authors review. I have tried most of the fragrances from that brand enough to have a solid opinion on them, and it's one of my favorite fragrance brands, so I feel like that'll be a fun review. And then I ordered 5 fragrances from Dossier, which is a dupe brand that's pretty popular, but they just came out with their own like signature fragrances that are their own, you know, concept, and I was interested in those, so I picked up 1 of those and then 4 of the dupes, and a review of those should be coming at some point. I am excited to review those. Trying to decide what I want to do on my brow bone, and I think I'm just going to go with my fail-safe, which is the shade Flicker from Cleona. Just a really nice red, peach gold iridescent that really flatters my coloring and blends really seamlessly with anything else I find. And then I'll add a little bit of, I think that one's called Reflectance from Cleona. That one's more green, and I think that'll really complement Angel Wings, which is on the inner lid. Kind of put that here to brighten things up. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna put some eyeliner in my waterline. This is the shade Double Life from Urban Decay. It's a bronzy shimmer. We'll finish off the eyes with some mascara. This is the Maybelline Colossal Curl Bounce Mascara. And this is a pretty well brand new tube. I think I got this like a week ago. And this is a repurchase for me. I think I've owned this mascara 2 other times and used it up. My favorite at the drugstore, essentially. I went through my Tower 28 mascara, and I really, really liked that mascara, but by the end of the tube, I was like, you know, I feel like going back to the Maybelline, if I'm being honest, and, you know, my finances do play a hand in my desire to do that, but the Maybelline serves me perfectly fine, and I do feel like it smudges significantly less than the Tower 28. The Tower 28 was never like super smudgy on me, but I just find this one smudges less. I don't know. There, the eyes are finished and they're looking pretty intense, so let's see if we can balance this out with a lip. I'm gonna use my Makeup Forever Wherever Walnut lip pencil. Artist pencil, not lip pencil. I just use it as a lip pencil. This was in my favorites of 2022. Ooh, some more videos that I want to make. I want to do some sort of Bath & Body Works candle video because I made one a really long time ago and it was really fun to make. So I'd love to do that again. And I also got a bunch of new body care and fine fragrance mists from Bath & Body Works. I know a lot of you liked that Bath & Body Works fine fragrance mist ranking, and I would like to do not necessarily an updated version of that, but maybe just like a quick review on some of the new scents that I've picked up. So there's my lip liner on, and I'm going to use this Sephora Collection Rouge Lacquer in the shade Rise Up on top of it, because it's more like a purpley pink, and I feel like it'll balance the cheeks and the eyes and kind of have them meet in the middle. We'll see if I'm accurate in that assessment. I think it works. I think it works. The cheeks are still a little pink compared to everything else, but I think the pink and the green contrast really well on the eyes. And then since the lip is like a little bit deeper and a little bit more purple, it does pull it together. So that's the finished look. I do quite like it. I feel like myself in it, so that's really great. I feel like it works. And one more video that I'm definitely going to be doing. This might actually be the next video that I do after this one, is going to be the trans inclusive beauty tag. Hope Miss Tom did that on their channel and mentioned me in their video, and I was like, oh my god, okay, at the shout out. Like, I was super happy. So I am going to be doing that tag as well. I have a lot of thoughts to share with y'all. It might get a little, it'll get thoughty. It'll get thoughty, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, if you stayed with me until the end of this video, I just want to sincerely thank you. Thank you for being patient with me while I get my life back together. We are all fighting a battle that nobody knows nothing about. And I want to know how your life has been since I've been gone. So let me know what's up. What's something cool that happened in your life or that you're excited about? I would love to hear it. And I look forward to seeing y'all in the comments. Give this video a like if you liked it, because I would like that. And go ahead and check out some of my older videos. If you're new here, you might like those. Other than that, just, you know, stay tuned for more of me. You know, deli schedule depending. Yeah, I really don't know how to end a video anymore, but I really hope y'all have a good day, a good life, good luck in all of your endeavors, and thank you for spending some time with me today. See you later. Bye.
There's more where that came from, so go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more of whatever the heck that was.